One of the things I was most excited about with the eclipse was to see how our animals responded to it. I will do an overview of how all of the animals responded, but I wanted to show you first off some more of the obvious signs. So these sheep right here, you can just tell they look really confused. And this is right after totality, so the sun is starting to come out more, but they are super confused about what's going on because it had just been dark and now it's light again and they don't know what's happening. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but we have carpenter bees in this barn, and as it got darker with the totality, they all started swarming back to the barn because they actually sleep at night. So it was interesting to see them all swarming around the barn when usually we only see a couple. And the chickens were definitely thrown off. So these are a few of the hens and a couple roosters. They've started to roost in the barn as it got darker. And then you'll hear throughout the rest of the video that the roosters were just going crazy. They were crowing the entire time. So I think they couldn't tell what time of day it was, so might as well just crow. Our 1-year-old Great Pyrenees Griff was really worked up about it. He barked almost the whole time, so I think he was just on high alert, like he heard things that he's not used to hearing, and it's dark at night, he needs to be more protective, so he barked almost the whole time, which is different for him, especially during the day. He doesn't usually bark. What is it, Griff? What's happening? The emus were also a little bit different, so I'm walking up to the male right now, and he made a lot more of his mature male noises than he usually does. So he was looking all around, you can tell in their faces that they seem confused and a little bit worried. So here are some of his sounds though. So here's a better view of the sheep. They were all laying down, just resting before it got dark, and with the totality, they all stood up, kind of ran around a little bit, nervous what to do, and then they just stood still. They really didn't move very much at all. They didn't make much noise, and so I'm not an expert, but I'm guessing they were just playing it safe. You know, in the dark they have to be careful because they're a prey animal, so it was interesting to watch them just be a little bit more nervous. And it was the same with the goats and the donkeys. They mostly just stayed exactly where they were. Some were here nibbling on hay, but they were definitely less active than they are in the daytime. They were not running around and they were not making much noise at all, actually. So it was very quiet. You could hear the birds and obviously the roosters, but everybody else was pretty quiet and a little confused. And this is after totality, so it's starting to show more of the sun, but the sheep are still just standing there staring at me like, what should we be doing? Are we okay? Is everything okay? Are you going to feed us? Like, what's the plan? But now that it's brightening up outside, you can tell that the sheep are moving a whole lot more. Especially the lambs are back to running around and playing, and the mamas are just kind of walking around checking things out, making sure it's back to usual, back to a normal day. I don't think the emus were quite convinced that it's back to normal. They kind of patrolled this little fence row for quite a while after the eclipse, just kind of, I don't know what they were doing, looking for the sounds that they were hearing, or just they knew something was off, so they just kept patrolling this one fence row, back and forth, back and forth. It really was an amazing thing to see and really cool to watch how the animals responded to the eclipse.